Hello everybody, welcome to this video. It's a continuation in the series on what the AQA English language exams from 2017 teach us about the 2018 onwards exams. So we're looking at the examiner's report, student feedback, examiner feedback, we're looking at the mark schemes and all of the sort of experience we've had so far and saying, okay, how can we do better? And today we're going to look at paper 2, question 5. So it's the final question in paper 2. And as you know, you are given a polemic statement. You're given a statement that sort of elicits a strong opinion as a response. Now, this is the example not from the 2017 paper, but from my guide to English language, which is available on Amazon in paperback form now. So you're given a statement and you're asked to respond to it. You might be asked, to agree or disagree, and it is a 40-mark question. Now, in this video, I'm not going to teach you how to answer this question because I've got videos on that in this paper 2 playlist. I'm just going to talk to you about the things that came out of the examiner's report for 2017. So probably the biggest bit of feedback is to avoid a formulaic approach to this question. And I said the same about paper 1, question 5. So this is such a difficult one because I always feel as a teacher there is the ideal world and then there is the reality. And in the ideal world, we wouldn't give anybody a formulaic response or any kind of, do this question in this way. We wouldn't do that. We would want to say, no, you approach this question with your own original ideas and just go for it. But I know, just like with paper 1, question 5, where the feedback from the examiner's report was the same sort of thing, to avoid this formulaic response, I know from my own experience that many students, if they're not given some way of approaching these questions, they just do not know what to do. They do not know how to start. So really, the big advice for paper 2, question 5 is the same as paper 1, question 5, which is, if at all possible, avoid a formulaic approach. Don't think I have to attack this question in this way. Be original, inventive, creative, and just go with it and go for it. And if you're one of those students who can do that, that's fantastic. So what sorts of things came up as the formulaic approach? Things like using anecdotes, fake experts, surveys, statistics, all of these sorts of things, which the exam report, or the examiner's report, basically said, and I'm not going to give away what the 2017 question was because many of you will be doing it for a mock, but the examiner's report basically said, look, for this particular question, those ideas of having, fake experts and statistics might not be massively appropriate. So my advice on formulaic approaches is this, and I've said it all along, I said it in the previous video on paper 1, question 5. Avoid them if at all possible. But many of you I know will say to me, I have no idea how to attempt these questions unless you give me a sort of framework to work with. And that is one of the difficulties of there no longer being a higher or foundation tier paper, isn't it? That, it might be that you're a high ability student who just says, yep, I know what I'm going to write here, I'm going to go for it. But a lot of students look at these sorts of questions and think, I have no idea. So if you're avoiding a formulaic approach, what should you try to do? Well, one of the things that came out in the examiner's report, which I think again was the same for paper 1, question 5, was why not try and have an inventive structure? So many answers start in the same way. Why not have a cyclical structure where it, begins in a way and it ends in the same way, or some sort of sophisticated arresting opening, the kind of thing that I cover in my videos. Try not to be the sort of, I am writing to tell you that I disagree with the statement. Everybody writes like that. So try to have an inventive structure. Now, just like in paper 1, question 5, overlong answers suffered. Okay, this is a 40-mark question. You're probably going to spend 45 minutes on it, 3/4 of an hour. And of course, you have to plan and you have to check the technical accuracy at the end because there are 16 marks for your spelling, punctuation, and grammar. So let's say you have 5 minutes planning and you're actually planning things like your structure, not just planning, the linguistic devices you're going to use, but thinking about how can I be inventive with my structure and that sort of thing. And you have 5 minutes at the end for checking your spelling, punctuation, and grammar. You're still writing for 35 minutes. Now, I am always hesitant to talk about how much should you write for an answer, because some people have massive handwriting, and if I say a certain amount of sides of A4, that would be like 2 paragraphs, whereas some people have tiny handwriting. But what the examiner's report pointed out was this: super long answers, 4 or 5 sides, for example, often suffered with their technical accuracy, because to go from a level 2 for technical accuracy to a level 3, you have to sustain your technical accuracy. So yes, you have to be, spelling words correctly and good technical, good punctuation and varying your sentence structures and all of that kind of thing. But to get the level 3 and above for the 16 marks, that has to be sustained throughout the whole piece of writing. And what the exam board found is that those students who wrote masses, and that was pointed out as 4 or 5 sides in the examiner's report, but I know some people write 8 sides or whatever. Those people who wrote masses often failed to sustain their technical accuracy control, because the idea being, the more you write, the more chance you have of making a mistake, and the less time you've got to check it at the end, or even just to think carefully about what you're writing in the first place and how you're writing it. So my advice, if this was me, I think you can say everything you need to say in a good 2 sides of A4 average size handwriting. And that gives you plenty of time to think and plan your answer and to actually check at the end as well. But also, as you're writing, to be reflecting on what you're writing. Because the other thing that the exam board found with these overly long answers was that they failed to sustain the thrust of the argument. So if you're arguing, for example, as we see in this answer here, if you're arguing that social networking sites should be banned, and you come up with 2 or 3 good reasons why, and you think about the opposite side of the argument, and you write your answer, the chances are, if you write 5 sides or 6 sides or 8 sides, that not everything you write is going to be really backing up your arguments. There are going to be paragraphs that are sort of just dead paragraphs where nothing is really happening. You're not progressing your line of argument. So I think, just like with paper 1 question 5, there are no real surprises here. The feedback is avoid the formulaic approaches if you can. The feedback is avoid them, but I would just add, aim to avoid them, because these are the questions that are creative and inventive, and your chance to give your own skills, a kind of demonstration. But very important, don't write too much. Make sure you build in planning time, make sure you build in checking time, and it's not just about having good ideas or having some good use of technical accuracy, it's about sustaining it, which often is impossible with the longer answers. Not always. Again, some of you will be high ability top set students who can write 5 sides of brilliantly technically accurate sustained argument, but what I like to do in my videos is give a kind of general advice. Now, everything I go through in these videos is contained in my revision guide to GCSE English Language, which contains sample answers in all the different forms and everything like that. So pick up a copy, it really does help. It is £6.99 in paperback on Amazon, £3.99 Kindle on Amazon, and £3.99 ebook at mrbruff.com. I hope you found this video useful. This is the end of the feedback on the English language, but as of next Saturday, we will look at the feedback on English literature, and I'm posting videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, so please do subscribe to the channel.